pop up. I think it's called, I don't know. I can read it. What is Kismet? Unreal. The visual scripting system. All right, so like, yeah, the visual scripting system is Kismet, and inside of Kismet, you're editing blueprints. Is I believe what it is. Thank you, Duotones, for following. I try to stream as much as kind of possible. Like I don't have like a streaming schedule or something. I basically wake up and start working on stuff when I can, and then when I'm tired of working and my brain doesn't function anymore, I like stop working. So one of those things. So why Kismet, not actual code? Where's the advantage? Well, there's a couple of reasons to use scripting languages for stuff. Like I don't have to wait for compile times, which is one thing. It also helps you separate kind of core engine code from gameplay code. So when you're making a game engine, one of the problems is a gameplay code usually has to do a whole bunch of stupid crap and changes all the time. So, and core engine code usually doesn't. Like, there's only so many different ways you can make an animation controller. It's like it plays animations, it plays animation events, it does stuff like that, right? But there's a lot of different ways you can have a character jump. So if you're trying to make like some super awesome bulletproof jump code, like good luck with that. And writing it in a more efficient thing like C++, you know, the iteration time, whatever, might be longer than just writing it in Kismet and some visual scripting stuff. And having kind of a hard block there of like, well, everything off in Blueprint Land is pretty much game specific code, and a lot of it can be kind of trash, and you can kind of let it be trash, and it kind of helps you out in terms of code organization. So you're like, oh, it's in C++, it should, you know, actually have good inputs and outputs and be documented. Oh, it's in Blueprint? All right, yeah, just, you know, duplicate the actor and drag the pins around and, you know, whatever. Don't worry if it gets stupid. All right, so let's pass something in here for this guy. Maybe I should pass it a type. All right, so let's get this guy. So we'll switch on this type, basically. So if, yeah, why don't we just say like if this, I guess I need to do a sequence node here because of how there's no default case on switch statements inside of blueprints. So if this is going to be this sort of stuff, we're going to need a return. We can capture it or not. So if this is undefined, none, or default, then go ahead and capture it. Otherwise, we want to know if this guy equals our held ball type, and then we'll just return that guy. So that'll tell us if we can capture a ball type. So we want to call can capture ball. Can I make this const or something else? Let's see. Yeah, but it doesn't turn it into like a green thing or something that make it easier to deal with in Kismet. All right, so Why do we have unfreeze on unend overlap? Yeah, because it's going to check inside of unfreeze if we actually have it frozen, so it doesn't matter if we call unfreeze or not on it. And we only do this if we have authority. Okay, so let's make sure it works with the default stuff here. Because I changed around the code for capturing. Make sure I didn't screw it up too bad. I can hit the ball in the right direction. Very good. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to put in a specific, I want to spawn in more than one ball. So let's go to spawn. Let's see, ensure count 5. Let's just make 5 ball spawn points. That sounds very angry over there. What in the hell is going on? This is pretty funny, actually. That physics object still interacts with it. Because if I hit this hard enough, it would actually knock it out. Alright, so let's see. If I pop this up, it'll get captured. Alright, cool. That's what I was hoping for. Yeah, good. Alright, so I want to go to this can spawn, this ball spawner. Where is that ball spawn point? Alright, so I guess I'll try this try to adjust location but always spawn and see if that can actually handle this. Because what was happening is I was spawning 5 balls literally on top of each other in the same coordinates. So these balls are all on top of each other. And that did not work. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this server spawn ball function to actually return if it was able to spawn ball. Let's return false there. And then we'll take these guys and we'll actually put in a sequence node here, I believe. And just say, yep, we spawned it. So let's see, can we do a while loop with a break on it? Yeah, so we'll do it like this. So it'll basically only spawn a ball if it is able to. Otherwise it'll stop what it's doing. So let's see. Don't need that. Yeah, I guess we just need to do this handle ball count change sort of thing. So like if yeah, I guess we'll just call it every time in our tick. Didn't really want to do that, but it works. Alright, so that will spawn as many balls as it needs to. Alright, now let's take one of these goals. So we've got this ball holder, let's clone it. And let's change its held ball type to a leather ball. And let's change the spawner. So we've got this spawn point here. Let's change it back to 1. Let's also make a second one here and it'll spawn a leather ball. Alright, so we got a leather ball and a rune ball. So this one should be able to take anything, and this other one should only take leather. Excellent. So now we've got our kind of our ball holder things. Now let's get our events firing whenever these things actually do anything. So let me see. Anyway, I think I'll be right back. So 1 minute. Amount of energy drinks and water. Alright, so I haven't actually made events that... Let me see, how do I want to do these events? I want these events to be available to any of the C++ objects as well. And how do I want to make these events work? I want it to be just like a game event. And it should probably be like on a string key or something like that. So let me see. So should this be on... How would I like to use these? I would like to use these to be like a ball holder has captured a ball. So we would then like go activate, a door and open it, right? And then we would have, something else where we would deactivate. So we'd have like on game active, on game flag active, on game flag inactive, sort of thing. And the question is, should we have an enum for this? So it's like a type, or should we have a string for our game event? So it'd be like we open this gate and it has an actual string of like gate 5. Or should we use an enum, which would have a drop down? I think a string would probably be the best. I mean, enums would be a real pain in the ass to have to regenerate every single time. Everything needs to be saved? Alright, well then everything will become saved. Alright, so this will be on game. Something active. It's like, I guess on game flag activated. So our variables on this event, I've got an auto generation system hooked up for all this stuff so that I can easily do stuff. So we'll have I guess we'll have an identifier for the game flag. And we'll also have an ID, I believe. So some sort of unique identifier for the actor, I believe. I believe actors, do they have unique IDs? Unique ID for actor and real. One an ID of an actor. Object name is unique. It's add numbers to the class name for each instantiated object. Get object name. Alright, so I think there's an object ID that we can use. So we'll do that. Alright, so I'll just add that and generate it into my stuff. Yeah, I've got a whole big code generation system, so I can define a whole bunch of stuff in data, and then I can go regenerate everything, and it's got type checking and all this stuff. Because we do have a Java server component to our backend, and we have web window UI stuff, and it helps keep everything in order. So because I just added that data in there, I now have my UI events, which has this on game flag deactivated and on game flag activated static functions that I can go use, and like all this other stuff for all that. Actually, I can change this to take const references to f strings. Why don't I go do that? Is it always going to be a const reference? Can I just do that for everything? So it's even like a reference to an int32? I mean, that's pretty dumb, but... I think that'll do it. Let's see. Alright, so we got our const f string address, or ref, I should say. Why is it on? Oh, it's not on both because I forgot the second one, right? Oh, I forgot the second one on this. Yeah, I forgot to save the file. Whoops. It's like, what? But it's correct. But it's not correct. That's looking a lot better. The reason, of course, we want to pass references on those things is just to avoid unnecessary copies. And strings are really the only thing that matter. And it's going to copy it anyways, so it really doesn't fucking matter. It's just me being a pain in the ass to myself. So, whatever. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to set up flags that get thrown when one of these things captures a ball, a flag when it releases it, and then we want a component that can be attached to stuff that listens to these events, that can do things. So I should probably have something that gets activated. Oh, I see. I actually do use some of these things for replace inline on some of these. So the second function, we don't use a const ref. All right. I did something on purpose. What? And I need to wait. Yeah, I have this big auto generation system for code, just so I can sit here and fiddle with the auto generation system. And that's obviously superior to not having an auto generation system, because then I would just write the code that I use instead of fiddling forever around with things that generate it for me. Is it helping? It helps with the server stuff. This should be actually set up. Alright, so let's see. We got Just update some graphs here. Yeah, so one of the other games I'm working on is that game Maelstrom that's out on Steam, which is a naval combat battle royale game. I help those guys out with their server stuff from time to time, which they basically it's kind of funny. The Maelstrom game, they don't have any server engineers at all, and they've never had one. But their game is like a client server battle royale game. You have to have dedicated servers for that. So they're running on Amazon Game Lift, and it was the first the week before they launched. I got this call at like midnight from their producer. It was like, "Hey, we're gonna be launching Maelstrom, and we're gonna be doing it. Can you help us out with like, just make sure we're not gonna like completely screw everything up?" So I'm like, "All right, sure. Okay. When are you launching?" It'd be like, Tuesday." And I'm like, "Well, fuck. All right." All right, so who's your server guy I should talk to? And they're like, we don't have one. I'm like, how the hell are you launching a client server game without a server engineer? It's like, well, we just kind of cobbled it together. So just double check it. I'm like, all right, fine. So using Amazon Game Lift, which is, so I'm like, okay, does matchmaking actually work? And they're like, well, kind of. Like, well, does it work or not? It's like, yeah, regionalization doesn't work, so people in Europe get matched to servers in Oregon and shit like that, and it's like, well, that's stupid. But the biggest thing is they were launching with Windows servers, so like the first thing I was like, so you need to switch to Linux. He's like, why? I mean, Windows servers, Linux servers, what's the difference? Like, who cares? I'm like, well, at the end of the first month, you're going to get a really damn big bill, and that's why you're going to care. So, like, their first month, so it's like one of the first things I did was help them get their servers running on Linux, and their costs went from, I'm not going to tell you the exact cost, but it went from, if it was a 10 in terms of costs for Windows, it went to a 3 in terms of costs with Linux. Like, literally just that switch. And so it was pretty funny. I was like, all this other crap that they're worried about, and I'm like, so it really doesn't even matter if your game actually runs. You're gonna be fucking bankrupt in 2 months if you don't switch this. So I've been helping them out. I've got stories of they're trying to ban people that were being really racist in chat, and they didn't know how to even find the IDs for people. And their engineers have been looking for 4 hours to try to figure out how to get these people's IDs. And then I woke up and there's stuff on Skype, and I was just like, oh, okay, oh yeah, those guys, yeah, here's their IDs, because server logs, and they didn't even know any of the tools they even had. It's like, do you need their home address? I can get the van. If we need to show up on these people's doorstep and tell them to stop posting, shit about Jewish people in global chat, we can get the baseball bat. I'll meet you halfway there, and we'll do this. It was really funny. People don't really understand how if you're playing a game and you're saying all that shit, you're not nearly as anonymous as you think. It's here's this is the person it is. Here's, because we had one guy who was hacking the servers, and I figured out everything about him. I was like, okay, here's, because you have to make sure that it's actually the person, right? So I was like, well, here's his Facebook page, here's his Steam profile, here's his LinkedIn, here's his home address. This is the person that is hacking us. Here you go. It only takes 30 minutes to figure it out. It's like, are you sure we have the right person? I was like, well, he goes by this name here, this name here. This is the person. The IP addresses all match up. The device matches up. And he's got other friends that do the same thing. So yeah, this is the guy. It's just like, man. Okay, we'll just ban him. If the game industry ever came together with a good blacklist of people, that would be pretty awesome. Of course, it'd be abused to hell, but in theory, it works. Alright, so if we get back to actually doing shit that matters, we have the... I need to go to the right level. The temperature just raised today, so now there's like all these bugs that just woke up, and then somehow they get into your house. So if you see me grabbing at stuff, there's a fly that's flying around here that likes my monitors. Trying to kill him. All right, so these are... what the hell are they called? We got balls, collectibles, levels, missions, mission widgets, player entities, server, triggers, UI. Where is the blueprint? I'm blind, I can't read. Find in content, yeah, it's an environment holdables. All right, holders. All right, so what we want to do here is we want a boolean, which is game flag. No, we just want a string. So we'll have a string for a game flag. We'll do that, and when we capture something, we will do the thing. So it is when we call freeze on this thing. Hello, Karakan. Welcome. So I want a, yeah, if the length of this is greater than 0, then we're going to fire off the event for this thing. Yeah, I'm working on game objects today, so we made these really awful ball holders that like capture balls of specific type. We made some little stealth foliage, so you can put these things around and attach a stealth component to it, and your character will go stealth mode when you're in the bush. We added this wind. This wind actually gusts, so it'll turn on and off every so often, and it affects the ball. So right now I'm getting these holders, which snag balls of different types. We'll actually throw an event that we can listen for in order to do things like open a gate and close a gate, things like that. Stealth fungus? Hey, don't judge. What's the Mario Brothers movie? Trust the fungus? What does this get unique ID even do? Like, we wrote it, and by we I mean me. Is it on object utils? Alright, let's go take a look at this get unique ID UObject Unreal. Let's see what the documentation says about it. Returns the unique ID of this object. These are reused so it is only unique while the object is alive. Useful as a tag. Alright, so it should be kind of useful. What would the other thing be? I mean, I could actually throw the specific actor that has this as opposed to that. That's probably what I should do, is I should actually have an actor. And I know I just regenerated all this code and I finally opened all this crap up, but I gotta fiddle with my autogen system. Crap. I need to actually make a game object for this so that I can add more data. That was one of the things in college I really liked. One professor said, well, if you got a function that takes 13 arguments, probably forgot a few. So what we're gonna do here is, this is gonna be our game flag data. Oh, that's actually true. I might actually want a location on here, and I might actually want a that sort of thing. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so we'll just do data and data here. So now we can use this game flag data object and it'll do the things. So did anybody else see the Vault 76 teaser thing? That's a game I actually will be looking forward to playing. I really like Fallout games. But I can't really claim to be a super fan of Fallout games because I haven't played anything other than like Fallout 4. Like I haven't played like New Vegas and everything like that, so I really can't. I really should go back and play those. And download like a whole bunch of mods and completely fuck the game up, but who cares? That's the fun part. Which I just got finished playing The Forest last night, got through the ending of that. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna play next. Hello, Kento 456, or your name is always fucking yellow, so I can't really see it. No vanilla? What? Maybe. Maybe a few, you know, just a few swearing mods. Twitch chat is not really distracting me too much today. I mean, a bunch of people jumped in from, you know, some random dude's channel who makes a game I don't think you'd ever heard of. But Joe Blow hosted me and sent a couple hundred folks over to say hello, which was very nice of him. I should like follow his channel and then maybe send the 1 or 2 people that watch me over to him just so I can be like, yeah, you know, I'm helping his channel. We're like business partners. Bullshit. But no, Twitch chat's not super distracting today. Yeah, the main thing that was just pisses me off about Twitch chat and the rest is when you get really distracted when you're doing the math stuff. So when I was messing around with, you know, aspect ratios and stuff like that, brain only has so much juice at one point in time. Well, I try to answer questions that people ask, yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. Is like a few other people who are programming, like they don't even talk, they don't do anything. They're just like sitting there with some loud tech. You know, like that scene in Grandma's Boy, where he's, you know, the dude in the trench coat's sitting there programming, and he gets all pissed off because his character gets decapitated for some fucking reason. And Twitch chat is like the QA guy who comes in and he's like, well, you know, the elves on level 3 look like the dwarves on level 2, and I think it's like, shut up, nobody likes you, fuck off. Turns his techno music back on. Yeah, that's a good point. Shut up. That movie is too true. Because there's definitely, when you're in the game industry, there are people, like engineers are just like a bunch of weirdos. And as an engineer, it's not it's not a false depiction of how screwed up the game industry is. Hello, Sinus2. Welcome. Maybe not like, you know, like people getting all pissed off and playing games all the time and stuff, but the just how dysfunctional game teams are. Like game teams are really fucked up. In terms of like there's always politics. Which is always one of the fun things about working at larger corporations like EA or Amazon. When I was at like a startup like Molten Games, politics were pretty low key because people actually like when you can actually fire people who suck in a department, like politics get real simple because it's just like, do you do your job? Okay, cool, nobody cares. But in larger corporations like EA or Amazon, when somebody doesn't do their job, yeah, climbing the ladder at Amazon sucks. It depends. Climbing the ladder at Amazon sucks if you are not a complete asshole. Like if you're not a sociopath, corporate ladders suck. I am a sociopath, so corporate ladders are fun for me. But yeah, politics are really bad when you can't fire somebody because then that's when politics get all screwy because then it's you know a bunch of pain in the ass. But yeah, Amazon's ladder, basically how Amazon works is every you get rated and it's all about like what corporations have these rubrics for how you get graded is in your individual performance, and it'll be things like, well, if you're a level 2 engineer, you're supposed to have whole team impact and you know that sort of thing. And if you're a level 3, you're supposed to have impact on your team and then other teams. And these rubrics don't work across all jobs and disciplines, so it's really just like a big excuse that your boss can be like, well, you don't meet quite criteria in column 3C quite, so you know I'm not going to fill out the promotion docs. But the big thing that was actually not too bad at Amazon for me was for promotion stuff is if you know I think it's the best thing was when I was in college. One of the professors was talking about getting promoted in a corporate environment, and he was talking about like there were 3 professors that were teaching the same class, and usually one of them would be doing the teaching, and the other 2 would be you know just kind of hanging out and helping answer questions and all that. Like one guy was going on about how corporations do thing, and like you know the one other professor in the back was like, hold on a minute, like no, that's bullshit. Like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Don't tell these guys the wrong thing. If you bitch and complain about not getting promoted and you're a total douchebag about it all the time, who's the first person your boss is going to promote? Is he going to be like, well, person A does their job really well, but is totally happy and is like a great team member? All right, cool. All right, person B does their job worse than person A, but is going to leave if they don't get promoted, and they're a total asshole if we don't like bend to their will. I can only promote one person. As a manager, I need my team to work properly and all that. So you're like, well, person B will just leave and they're jerks, and I could solve 2 problems right now by promoting that guy instead of person A, even though person A deserves it more. Unless there's another reason that comes in, like, well, person A is a friend and I've made promises and you know it's their turn this time to get promoted. Person B will get promoted every time. So if you're willing to be a douchebag, fight for yourself, and all that stuff, you can actually get pretty far pretty fast, even in a corporate environment like Amazon. The biggest thing about Amazon that I hated was just the easiest way to get promoted was just to be around long enough. And it's just annoying. You've been wondering how to ask for a raise at your job? You just go ask for a fucking raise. Like it's really that simple. Like you are arguing on behalf of yourself and your manager is arguing on behalf of the company. Your job is to argue for yourself. So don't feel like a dick to ask for what you want and what you should have. What are they going to say? No? Doesn't that really sound like a good working environment? Yeah. Welcome to reality. But then again, I didn't have a problem with the working environment at Amazon in terms of working. Like they actually take care of their employees pretty well. Like the worst working environment was at Electronic Arts when Click Nation came in and we had like a big ass management change and managers were like really authoritarian and I just left that job in like a month. But Amazon's fine unless you want to ship games. Like they pay you well, they have clear things, they're not going to fire you for no reason. And Beer Friday every Friday, and as long as you're not super worried about actually shipping a good game, it's fine. It's quite enjoyable actually. All right, so I need to go to the folders. Thank you for following Div1. Let's see, I need to make this game data flag. So what we're gonna do is our unique key is gonna be this game flag. We're gonna get our self and we're gonna throw that in the event. And our location, what would our location be for this object? Yeah, I helped one other guy get a promotion at Amazon too. Basically, there was another guy on my team, and he's basically the quintessential person you wouldn't promote. He always showed up. He always did his job. He's real quiet and real nice to everybody. So he just, the perfect person to have on your team in the position that he is. He's just doing everything. But he was secretly very salty about not getting a promotion and all that stuff. So, I went through with them and I was like, you need to write down everything you do. Have a work journal every day, write down what you do. And actually, when you show up to a promotion meeting, or a review meeting, actually have the rubric with everything filled out. And if there are any documents for getting promoted, go download those documents from HR, fill them out for your boss, and just give them to your boss. And just be like, here, I've already filled out the paperwork for my promotion. Just all you have to do is send this, and this problem's over. And it worked, like that sort of stuff is. Let's grab that world location for the whole point and shove it in. People are people, right? Like to expect your boss to go above and beyond for you all the time is not always a reasonable expectation. So sometimes you got to grease the wheels on your own advancement. Whose rules are you playing by? All right, so we want to, when we actually set Kerbal to nothing, if frozen is false, then we are going to remove this thing. So it's on game flag deactivated. What is held ball? Held ball is a Dashkin object actor. Alright, let's do that. Alright, so if held ball is this guy, then we need to do this deactivate work. Alright, so if curveball is frozen, if this is valid, alright, so we're gonna lose our held ball here. So we want this whole thing to be inside of this. Let's change this to a sequence. And then what we want to do is we want to make sure that this event here, this guy, so we remove it and call unfreeze on it. And then we need to call on lost ball. Alright. Should, I believe, throw our stuff. Is this pissed at me? Unfreeze. Yeah, so we'll just cast this thing. So you might be wondering why I'm not working with the ball directly, instead I'm working with the object actor. The object actor is in C++, and unfortunately the BP bracket sack ball is in blueprints, but there's I'm using the nativized blueprint stuff, and T-sets and T-maps to blueprint types don't compile in C++ generated nativized blueprint code. So I'm having to do some kind of stupid workarounds, but it's not super awful. Okay, so we're going to throw our game flag deactivated and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a ball spawner. So we have a ball spawn point. And let's grab it, throw it right there, put it at 0.